Yo, what's going on, everyone? Hope y'all are having a good day. It's Friday here, Valentine's Day, actually. I'm just chilling at the house. Figured I'd come on here. I think this is probably the biggest thing I wanted to do on this channel is tell my experience with rehab. In hopes that it can help someone. Rehab, overprescription, overindulgence, a lot of stuff. It's going to take a while to tell, man. So yeah, this might be a 2-3 part video. I don't know. I don't even know if anyone's going to see this, but it's good for me. You know, I've done this in therapy quite a lot. Like just tell my story, I guess. But I don't know. If you relate, let me know. I don't know. That might make both of us feel better. Because I know my experience. I can't be the only one who's experienced this. And if I'm looking off camera, man, it's because I'm looking around my house because I don't like to look straight at the camera, man. It makes me nervous a little bit, especially when I'm talking about something like this personal. So anyway, so we got to go square one. We got to go back to the 1 yard line. So growing up, okay, I went to a small school. I'm from the southern USA. I went to a small school, graduated with like 30 people. Very small school, very different from a lot of other schools, obviously. I went there from K4, preschool to 12th grade, 15 years. They gave us like a certificate for lifers because we've been there so long whenever we graduated high school. So I was there a while. I knew everything about that school. I have dreams all the time where I'm at that. Last night I had a dream where I was at that school. I lived 2 minutes from the school, and I make it sound like I'm like in some like rural area. I mean, I was in a normal town, 80,000 people. We just happened to live real close to the school. So a lot of time spent there, and basically this will all relate. This is how I kind of started my issue. So long story short, I would have a lot of issues like with anxiety going to school. I remember second grade, I had a big one of my earliest memories was like going to second grade class and being in the hallway and just like so scared because I had missed school the day before and I was coming back. And I don't know what about that. Still to this day, I have no clue what like triggers me about that. But I guess it was everyone looking at me or thinking maybe I played hooky or something. Who knows? But I just remember being in the hallway and my mom actually like was there, and she was like, come in the classroom. It's okay. No, no one's gonna make fun of you or whatever. But I just remember being so. I mean, you would have thought I was walking into a pool of sharks. I don't know. It was so weird, and that was my earliest memory of it. So fast forward high school, I had major issues with this. Like spring break, the day back after spring break, I would be, just distraught. I don't know what. It's hard for me to even talk about this because it's so like embarrassing to me, but I would be like crying, screaming, like, why do I feel this way? I wouldn't be like mad at my parents for obviously trying to make me go to the school. I mean, that's their job. And deep down I knew that I needed to go, but I just felt like I couldn't a lot of times. And, a lot of times I would go in late. Total in high school, I think I missed like over 100 days. Like I said, I went to I don't know if I said it was a private school, it was a small school, so I could kind of get away with missing, I guess. Like I had doctor's notes from therapists and stuff like that. So that's kind of where the anxiety started. So fast forward a little bit, this is kind of where we get to the whole like starting to get to the process of how I went to rehab and overprescription. And this rehab that I went to ended up being a wilderness rehab, which I hate the woods. So go figure, man. But we'll get to that in a minute. So I went down to college. Long story short, started, partying too much, skipping class. That in turn made me feel awful, which, obviously it should. I'm not doing what I need to do. Therefore, I feel bad because I'm not amounting to anything. And it broke one day. I just was like, I can't do this. I need to come home. I can't do school. I need to come live back at home. And my parents had this reference from a doctor that we had kind of had in our back pocket from a family member who was decently exclusive. It was hard to get an appointment with him, but he said he would see me because of the family member, which he had helped to a major extent. So, I kind of was like, I'll do whatever at this point. I kind of put myself in I don't want to say that. It sounds like I'm putting the blame on them because I'm not. The blame's not on them, but I kind of was just like, whatever the doctor is going to tell me to do, hopefully it'll kind of soothe things out. And at this time I was, smoking pot, and I wasn't really drinking, but I was just kind of not doing anything, and I needed guidance, and obviously, I didn't really know what to do. So we went to this doctor. This doctor was about 3 hours from where I lived at my parents. So we would have to go to this doctor I think it was every 2 weeks, every week maybe. So that, we would be back and forth going to these appointments, and he was a major ball player in the benzodiazepine push of like the 90s or whatever. I don't know what year it was, but Xanax, basically. He was like one of the entrepreneurs of the Xanax movement of like, this is for anxiety, it's going to really help everyone, Now, Xanax, I knew what it was. I had seen people mess their lives up on it. I had taken one Xanax in college at a party, and, that night I also was drinking and stuff. I don't really remember if it made me feel any more, effed up than I already was because I was already drunk. But I did not know any of the benzodiazepine cousins. So like Ativan we'll get to Ativan in a minute. That was the major one. But I didn't know what Klonopin was. I'd heard people talk about them, but I didn't really. It was kind of like whenever people said like random pill names. I didn't know if what it made you feel like. I didn't know where to get them. Obviously, I'd never seen anyone have them. I just knew that they were like I had seen like a Wikipedia page back then. I didn't really know anything. So I got prescribed. I remember I got prescribed like a certain. I think it was a benzo, but I don't remember. I was only on it for like a couple of days, and I didn't really notice a difference from what I remember. A lot of this I don't remember because you'll see why in a minute. And the whole plan was for me to try to eventually go back to school and kind of figure out what I wanted to do and get things in check, because obviously if I can't go to class, I'm not going to be able to go to work and be able to hold down a job if I can't be in front of people. I knew I had to fix it. I knew there was something I could do. The whole thing was, I feel good about this. I wanted to, at a certain point, I decided I wanted to get better and not, I didn't want to feel like shit. But during these times I'm telling you about, I didn't really have a sway either way. I didn't really care. Like, I was just like, if things work out, that would be awesome, But at the end of the day, I don't have control over this. My life is just kind of ruined. My thoughts were my life is ruined, and whatever happens, man. And I'll just keep moving forward and, chilling, which was the wrong move. I should have been grinding, but I was just chilling. And let's see, so we ended up going back to that doctor one day, and he prescribed me Ativan. Now, I'd never taken an Ativan. Well, actually, I take that. I took an Ativan when I was a kid one time. I didn't know this. My dad had an Ativan prescription for his like major panic attacks, and I had no idea what this was. And one time I took like half an Ativan in high school. I didn't know it was an Ativan. My parents didn't really know what to do because I was like freaking out and hyperventilating and having a major anxiety attack, and they gave me like a quarter of one to go to sleep. So I didn't know what it was. To me, it was like a Benadryl. They were like, here, take this. It's going to help you sleep. And then we can, try to calm you down. Which it did at the time. This was like 11th grade. So, fast forward, I'm at the doctor now. He hands me a prescription to Ativan. Now, I shit you not when I say this, because a lot of people, even when I went to rehab, the counselors were like, there's no way this prescription was the amount you're saying. The prescription this dude gave me was 8 milligrams of Ativan a day. 8 milligrams. 8. That's 2 Xanax, full Xanax bars a day. He knew that I was smoking pot all day too. He knew, I was smoking pot 24/7. And we told him that, and we were like, I told him I don't, at this point, I don't know if I can stop. I couldn't stop at that point. I knew looking back, I couldn't stop. But I was like, I don't know if I'm going to stop right now because it's the only thing that makes me feel halfway normal. And I had been smoking pot for like 8 years at this point. So like, he knew that I was going to be smoking pot. It wasn't like we'll stay off of it when you're on this medicine. Like I told him like chances are I'm going to be smoking pot. So don't give me, I didn't say that. Don't give me anything crazy, but like, he's the doctor, man. I figured he would know. So anyway, and I don't want to put all the blame on him because this is partially obviously my fault too. And that I struggle with that too. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. You just got to move forward. So anyway, 8 milligrams of Ativan a day to be taken 4 times a day, 2 milligrams each time, 1 in the morning, 1 at lunch, 1 after lunch, around the 3 p.m. mark, and then 1 at night. And he told me, I promise, he told me if you want to keep some in your pocket, in case you feel any nervousness, just keep, take another one. It's fine, just keep taking another one, take another one at any time that you feel nervous. And I remember asking what if I take like 2 or 3 extra ones? He's like, oh, it doesn't matter. It would take 1,000 of these to take an elephant down. Like, you're fine. Don't worry about it. It'll calm your anxiety. And then on top of that, he hands me a prescription for Ambien to be taken after all that Ativan. So, looking back, I don't know why I took all these drugs. Let's not get into that. I was broken. I was so depressed. And little did I know I was about to get even more depressed. So I ended up spending the next 6 months in a complete haze. No idea. So many things that people have told me about that time now, looking back, I had no idea happened and it all just flashed back. 2 car wrecks, don't even remember until people told me. I backed straight into my buddy's car one night, into his headlights and busted them. Freaked out about it. Went to my parents. I think I was 20 at the time. I was freaking out. I was like, I'm so sorry, Dad. Didn't even remember any of that. Whenever I got out of rehab and everything, they told me that, and I was like, what are you talking about? And it all just came back to me. Wrecked into a mailbox one time with my mom. Tried to run off and not tell the neighbors about it with her in the car. Just stupid shit. I don't even remember half of it. Texting people that I don't know. Hitting girls up on Instagram. Just shameful stuff. Lying to my family, shameful stuff, lying to my family, disrespecting them, telling them I don't care about living, that the life that I have isn't worth it, and just not good stuff, man, not good stuff. And that whole time, I would try to get a job, just working desk job at the gym or something, and I couldn't even do that. I wouldn't even show up to the interview. I would just sleep through it, sleep all the time. I was fat, unhealthy. Had kidney stones during that period. It was awful, man. It was just terrible. I was living at my parents'. For some reason, I was obsessed with sleeping on the couch. I would only sleep on the couch. I have no idea why. And this is something they don't tell you about benzos, man. Like Xanax and stuff. It makes you, at least it did for me, it makes you have a sweet tooth. I would go to the BP, and I was smoking cigarettes. I was doing everything wrong, man. I was smoking cigarettes. I would get a pack of cigarettes, 2 honey buns, some chips, a soda, and then go play Madden all night and smoke pot. So I was not living right. It's awful looking back. It's honestly hard to talk about because I'm smiling to cope with it because it's so bad, man. It's just, I can't even believe I was doing that shit. And thankfully the Ambien didn't really do all that much. Multiple nights I remember just wandering around the house. I would peep the windows a lot. I know that's a tweaker thing, but I was at my parents' house in a nice neighborhood. I would just be worried, man. I would just be worried. So hold on, I'm gonna cut this video and then we can go to the next part. Hold on.